In the gray hills of northern Vermont, long abandoned by time and covered in slow-creeping ivy, stands the crumbling remains of St. Helena's Monastery, a place lost to history but never truly empty. Its last caretaker was Sister Margret, a quiet woman known for her calm voice, devotion to silence, and unwavering routine. She came to St. Helena in the fall of 1972, after the death of her parents, and took her vows with a bowed head and hands that never trembled. The other sisters spoke highly of her, though they noticed early on she avoided one spot in particular, a front pew in the chapel. Always empty, polished more often than the others, and never mentioned in conversation. When Margaret asked about it, the answer was always the same. No one sits there. Not anymore. The chapel was old, its stone walls cracked with age, the altar missing pieces from some long-forgotten damage. Night, the sisters would hold vespers, then extinguish the candles before locking the doors. Except Margaret. She stayed after prayers, watching the flame at the center of the altar flicker against stained glass, listening to the creaks of wood and stone. She claimed she could hear the building breathing, slow, steady, as if something ancient beneath the stone had never quite fallen asleep. By her 3rd month, she began hearing whispers, not voices from the other sisters, but low murmurs coming from the chapel when no one else was inside. She would pass by the doorway and catch a word, Latin sometimes. Sometimes her own name, said gently, as if someone were reading it aloud from a book only they could see. On the last day of October, the others prepared for All Saints' Day. They decorated the small garden with paper lanterns and silent prayers. Sister Agnes, the eldest and sharpest of the group, noticed Margaret had grown pale and distant, her eyes often fixed on that empty pew. That evening, Margaret skipped supper and went to the chapel alone. She locked the door from the inside. It was nearly midnight when Sister Agnes heard chanting, not the usual hymns, but something slower, lower. She crept from her quarters and followed the sound. It leaked through the cracks in the chapel door like smoke. The handle was cold. She knocked. No answer. Chanting, rising and falling like breath. The next morning, the door was open. Candles had burned down to the wax. Hymnals lay scattered, pages torn. And in the front pew, the one no one sat in, a single black rosary had been placed neatly on the bench. No sign of Sister Margret. Her room was untouched, her clothes folded. Only her Bible was missing, and her habit laid out across the bed like she had stepped right out of it. They searched the grounds, the woods, the hills beyond. No footprints. No signs of a struggle, but in the chapel, the temperature never rose above freezing again, no matter how many fires they lit. Weeks passed. The sisters whispered among themselves. One by one, they requested transfers. St. Helena closed its doors the following spring. It has remained empty for decades. But if you walk past it in the dead of night, and many say they have, you see candlelight in the windows, you'll hear faint chanting, always just beneath the sound of the wind. And if you're foolish enough to step inside, the chapel will greet you with the scent of old wax and stone, and the sound of someone sitting down gently in that front pew. Some who've entered say they felt watched the moment they crossed the threshold. One visitor, a local priest, claimed he heard breathing near his ear, followed by a voice that whispered a name he hadn't spoken in 20 years. They say Sister Margaret's spirit never left, that she became part of the chapel. The thing which whispered to her now wears her face. It sits in the front pew, silent and still, waiting for prayers that never come. So if you ever find yourself near St. Helena after dark and you feel a pull toward its old chapel, resist it. Do not sit. Do not speak. Do not listen when it whispers your name. Because if you do, you'll find what Sister Margret did. And once you do, it will find you too.